Hello everyone. So now we are going to start today with practical Q&A, practical question and answers relating to costing. So first chapter, development in business environment. Again, as I've already said, it is one of the ignored chapters unfortunately. So practical Q&As relating to the first chapter. We are already done with the theory part. This is the practical part relating to development in business environment, of which the first aspect is TQM. So I have just selected randomly as such. I have selected a few questions from the practice manual which majorly cover all the concepts which are there as far as the practical aspects are concerned of this first chapter. So we will take a quick overview of all of those questions so that even the practical aspect is done and dusted. As I have already said, the first chapter carries around 25 marks approximately, including the theory and practical. So you never know, there may be a weightage on practical as well. So let's not ignore that. Let's get it done and dusted. On that note, from this grey PM, question number 2, Hindustan Bikes Limited is the question that I am reading. You can refer that. As I have already said, if you are listening to my video, ensure that you are keeping your PM with you, because that is where my whole focus of this whole optimized lecture is. Alright, so question number 2, Hindustan Bikes Limited. I am reading the question, we will quickly solve it. Hindustan Bikes Limited, formerly known as Helco, is an Indian multinational company. Now, before we start with the answer, let's have an overview of the question, because this is a fast track and I will assume that you would know the basics. Nonetheless, so Hindustan Bikes Limited has asked you a question. It wants to know the total quality cost that it has to incur in order to ensure that the product is defect free and the product is of the topmost quality. So what are the quality costs that we have seen already in theory? One is prevention, other is appraisal, then is internal, fourth is external. So these are the four costs that we have seen: prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure, and external failure. So this is how the whole system works: prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure and external failure. Let's read question number 2. Hindustan Bikes Limited, formerly known as Helco, is an Indian national company. Its headquarters is located in Mangaluru, India. It has been founded in the year 1990. Company is presently locally listed, so let's ignore all of that. Management has provided you the following information for the most recent month of the current year: customer support center cost, equipment testing cost, warranty repair cost, manufacturing rework cost. So the first thing that we have to do is identify. We have to identify what cost will fall in which of these scenarios which are given. Volume and activity data, bike requiring manufacturing work, bike requiring warranty repair, production line testing time, customer support testing time, all of that is given. Additional information: HBL carried out a quantity review of its existing suppliers to enhance quality levels during the month at a cost of rupees 1,25,000. Due to the quality issues this month, the Pride production line experienced unproductive downtime which cost rupees 7,70,000. Prepare a statement of total quality cost. So can I say this will be a statement of total quality cost? So all we have to do is look at the question, find out the costs which are there, identify where it falls, calculate it numerically, and we get the final answer as to what exactly total quality cost is. Do not ignore this. May be asked as a part of first question for 5 marks. So these are the kind of questions that institute can ask, and if you know, things are very easy, but if you do not know, even a simple question will look very difficult. So let's focus and get it done and dusted. Alright, so first in line is customer support center cost. Where will this fall? Customer. See, whenever customer is there, it means the product has been sold. After that, so that has to be an external failure. So once the product is sold, then it comes back. So customer, it has to be an external failure. So customer support center cost. Let's see what is the cost. It is rupees 35 per hour. What is the customer support time? It is 2000 hours. So fairly simple, 2000 hours into 35 per hour. Quickly, then equipment testing cost. So where will equipment testing cost fall? See, it will fall in appraisal. Internal failure, no, it's not an internal failure as such. We are doing the testing. So, things around the product is what appraisal cost is. So equipment testing, what are the charges? Well, they are 18 per hour and testing time is 1600 hours. So 1600 hours into 18 per hour. Moving on. Warranty repair cost. Where will warranty fall? Warranty again after the product is uh, sold. So here will be your warranty cost. Warranty cost will be 1560 per bike, and the warranty repair requiring is 2600 bikes. Moving on. Next in line is manufacturing rework cost. So manufacturing rework. So if it is a case of rework, then it is an internal failure. Rework and repair, remanufacture, all of that forms part of your internal failure. What are the cost for that? Well, it is manufacturing rework is 228 per bike, and bikes requiring manufacturing rework is 3200. So in all, this is how the first bifurcation is as far as the total quality cost is concerned. Then HBL Limited carried out a quality review to its existing suppliers to enhance quality levels. So can I say it is a quality review cost that we are looking at? So quality review, everything related to quality review and all of that will form part of prevention. So here quality review cost is written under prevention. And lastly, due to the quality issues in the month, the bike production line experienced unproductive downtime, which cost rupees 7,70,000. So again, there is a downtime, so there may be a rework. So anything related to that will be external failure cost downtime. The amount is 7,70,000. This was 1,25,000. We can quickly calculate that. 1,600 into 18 will give me 28,800. Manufacturing rework 228 into 3,200 will give me 729. 600 customer support will give me 70,000. And lastly, warranty will give me 4056,000, and the total quality cost TQC will work out to 57,79,400. So 57,79,400 is the total quality cost, and that completes my answer. Again, as I said, can be expected for a 4 to 5 mark question number 1. Thank you. Next in line, question number 3 quickly. NZ Limited implemented a quality improvement program and had the following results: sales, scrap, rework, production inspection, product warranty, quality training, materials inspection. Required: classify the quality costs as appraisal, prevention, appraisal, internal failure, external failure, and express each as a class as a percentage of sales. Compute the amount of increase in profits due to quality improvement. I think fairly simple sum. So we will just have to qualify, identify which cost falls where. Sales, not a cost. Scrap is nothing but your internal failure. Rework, internal failure again. Product inspection is an appraisal cost. Product warranty after, so it is external failure. Product quality training, anything relating to quality training, review, all of that, prevention cost. And again, materials inspection is again inspection related quality related things will form as appraisal cost. So that marks the end of the question. So there is the total cost given before, then there is a total cost after. If there is a reduction in total cost, then in that case the TQM program has worked, else it has not worked. As simple as that. Percentage of sales you have to find out, which is fairly simple. So with this we complete question number 3. Alright, next in line, question number 5 and question number 6 are almost similar. We will select question number 6, Thomson Limited, because that is kind of an institute favorite. But same lines, question number 5 is done, is being also can be done. So question number 6 is what we are focusing on. Thomson Limited. I'll just read the question and then we'll start. Thomson Limited makes and sells a single product. The unit specifications are as follows: direct material X, 8 square meter at rupees 40 per square meter. If you've studied under me, or even if you've not, always remember that your costing sums should be solved with a summary. So prepare a summary for the sum that you are solving and only then start the solving procedure. That will reduce the time and increase your efficiency. So there is a direct material X. So direct material X is there, which is purchased at 8 square meter, is purchased at 40 per square meter. Then there is machine time. Machine time is 0.6 running hours. So it will be 0.6 running hours. We will move on. Machine cost per gross hour and selling price. So there is a machine cost per gross hour which is rupees 400. So 400 per hour is the machine cost. This is machine time, this is machine cost. Selling price 1000. Thomson Limited requires to fulfill orders for 5000 units per period. So total in all I have to sell 5000 units. There is no stock of products at the beginning or at the end of the period under review. So that probably gives me an idea that the quantity produced will be equal to quantity sold. So total number of units that I have sold is 5000, I have to sell is 5000. So probably that is the quantity that I will have to produce. The stock level of material X remains unchanged throughout the period. Thomson Limited is planning to implement a quality management program. The following additional information regarding cost and revenue are given as of now and after implementation of QMP quality management program. Now I will quickly go through all of this and then we will move on to the required part. 5% of incoming material scrap due to poor receipt, now reduced to 3. 4% due to machine process, now reduced to 2.5. Inspection cost 1, no change there. Production inspection during production cycle, total 2,50,000, now reduced by 60%, so reduction of 40%, sorry. Production quantity has 12.5% of downgrading, now reduced to 7.5%. Also downgraded units can be sold at 30% of selling price. Production quantity increased to allow for return 5%, now reduced to 2.5. Product liability 3%, now 1%. Machine time 20%, now reduced to 12.5%. So machine idle time was 20%, now it is reduced to 12.5%. Sundry cost 6 lakh, reduction by 10%, so which will be now say 5,40,000. Prevention program 2 lakh, now increased to 6 lakh. Total quality management program will have a reduction time in machine run time required per unit to 0.5. So it was 0.6, now 0.5. So there is a reduction there as well. Prepare a statement showing the calculation of total production units, purchase of material, machine hours, total situation before and after QMP, and a profit and loss account to show the whether QMP should be accepted or not. Alright, next in line, question number 5 and question number 6 are almost similar. We will select question number 6, Thomson Limited, because that is kind of an institute favorite, but same lines question number 5 is done, is being also can be done. So question number 6 is what we are focusing on. Thomson Limited, I will just read the question and then we will start. Thomson Limited makes and sells a single product. The unit specifications are as follows. Direct material X 8 square meter at rupees 40 per square meter. If you've studied under me or even if you've not, always remember that your costing sums should be solved with a summary. So prepare a summary for the sum that you are solving and only then start the solving procedure. That will reduce the time and increase your efficiency. So there is a direct material X. So direct material X is there, which is purchased at 8 square meter, is purchased at 40 per square meter. Then there is machine time. Machine time is 0.6 running hours, so it will be 0.6 running hours. We will move on. Machine cost per gross hour and selling price. So there is a machine cost per gross hour which is rupees 400. So 400 per hour is the machine cost. This is machine time, this is machine cost. Selling price 1000. Thomson Limited requires to fulfill orders for 5000 units per period. So total in all I have to sell 5000 units. There is no stock of products at the beginning or at the end of the period under review. So that probably gives me an idea that the quantity produced will be equal to quantity sold. So total number of units that I have sold is 5000, I have to sell is 5000. So probably that is the quantity that I will have to produce. The stock level of material X remains unchanged throughout the period. Thomson Limited is planning to implement a quality management program. The following additional information regarding cost and revenue are given as of now and after implementation of QMP quality management program. Now I will quickly go through all of this and then we will move on to the required part. 5% of incoming material scrap due to poor receipt, now reduced to 3. 4% due to machine process, now reduced to 2.5. Inspection cost 1, no change there. Production inspection during production cycle, total 2,50,000, now reduced by 60%, so reduction of 40%, sorry. Production quantity has 12.5% of downgrading, now reduced to 7.5%. Also downgraded units can be sold at 30% of selling price. Production quantity increased to allow for return 5%, now reduced to 2.5. Product liability 3%, now 1%. Machine time 20%, now reduced to 12.5%. So machine idle time was 20%, now it is reduced to 12.5%. Sundry cost 6 lakh, reduction by 10%, so which will be now say 5,40,000. Prevention program 2 lakh, now increased to 6 lakh. Total quality management program will have a reduction time in machine run time required per unit to 0.5. So it was 0.6, now 0.5. So there is a reduction there as well. Prepare a statement showing the calculation of total production units, purchase of material, machine hours, total situation before and after QMP, and a profit and loss account to show the whether QMP should be accepted or not. So on that note, now let us start with the base of the question. What has happened here? I have a supplier, say Mr. A. Okay. So my Mr. Supplier will supply raw materials to my factory. So this is my factory. In my factory I have a machine. This is my machine. This is my machine. The raw materials that have come here will be put in this machine, and finally the finished goods will come out. Alright? This finished goods will be sold to the outside world, to the outside market, and finally the process will be complete. So this is where the process starts and this is where the process ends. Alright? So here, suppose now hypothetically my sales that I am doing is 5,000 units. Total sales is 5,000 units. So the output that I am producing, I am able to sell in the market 5,000. Of which let's assume that 5% are returned back. So can I say this is nothing but my sales return? So this is my sales and this is my sales return. So in short, 250 is what will be returned. I am left with what? I am left with 4750 units of output. But I will have to send those 250 units back to the customers who had asked for. So again 250 extra I will have to make, which are a good number of units, making this 5,000 again. Now did you understand one thing? In order to sell 5,000 units, I have to actually make 5,250 units. So how? 5,000 units is what I will sell to the outside market. 5% will be returned back. So 250 मेरे पास return back आ गया. वो 250 का मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. नया जो 250 मेरे को extra बना के रखना पड़ेगा, and that is what I will send it back to the customers who returned those defective products to me. Are you understanding the correct? So 5% sales return is nothing but the extra production that I will have to make, the extra output that I will have to make, so that I am able to ensure that my total sales are taken care of in a proper manner. So that is how it works. Then I will see that if there is any issue at the finished goods level, I will see any issue at the machine level, I will see any issue at the raw material level, and then I will be done and dusted as far as the total units that I have to produce, and for that the total raw material that I have to get. Alright, so here this is where the process starts, this is where the process ends. Output, in all I have to sell 5,000. 5% waste, 5% has gone waste, so that has returned back to me. So essentially I have to sell more 250, which is 5% extra to those customers who returned it back to me. So 250 उतना extra बनाना पड़ेगा. I cannot rework them. कोई नया products I have to be ready with, I have to send them. So 5,000 plus 5%. 5,250 is what I will keep ready. 250 I will keep aside. 5,000 I will keep with me. Send those to 5,000, of which 5% will return back. 250 I have made extra. The moment I return, this will be sent back to the customers who had returned it. I hope that is clear. So this is how systematically we will have to work out. Now, the first point. 5% of incoming material from suppliers scrapped due to poor receipt and storage organization. So can I say these are my suppliers? So supplier, this is my supplier. So here they have written that whatever supplier sends, 5% is scrap. Why? Due to poor receipt and storage organization. So 5% was being scrapped. Now that has been reduced to 3% thanks to QMP. Alright. So I will have to again order more, of which 5% will be scrapped. Remaining will be used actually in the factory for machine. 4% of material X input to the machine process. So of this total that I am going to receive, 5% scrap. The remaining best is then sent to the machine, of which 4% of material X input to the machine process is wasted due to processing problems. So here the 4% input goes for a toss, of which now 2.5% is the reduction. So 4% input which was being wasted now reduced to 2.5%. Then inspection and storage, 1 per square material, no change, okay. Inspection during the production cycle, again in terms of cost, not a problem. Production quantity is increased to allow for downgrading of 12.5% of the production units at the final inspection stage. So here now this is the case of finished goods. So the total finished goods is 12.5% which are downgraded. So there is a downgrade here, and this downgrade has been reduced from 12.5% to 7.5% after implementation of quality management program. Continuing the structure, production quantity is increased to allow for return from customers due to a specification failure and account for 5% of units actually delivered to the customer. Okay, so coincidentally this is the 5% that I was speaking of. So 5% is actually returned to us. So this is where the question stands. Now we have to tell them what exactly is the total quality improvement that has taken place in terms of costs. So 5,000 units is what I used to sell. Even now I have to sell 5,000 units. If you closely observe, there is no change as far as sales units are concerned. So this now 5% has reduced to, check, so 5% has reduced to 2.5%. 2.5%. So 5,000 units is what I used to make. Now 5,000 units is the sales that I used to do. 5,000 units is the sales that I have to do. But for that I used to make 5% extra. So I had to make 5250 of output. Now I will make 3% extra, sorry, 2.5% extra, which will work out to 5125. So the finished goods, the final production, before QMP 5250, after QMP 5125. So production has reduced, the sales has not, which is nothing but a pure cost benefit that I have got thanks to the quality management program. Continuing. Now in order to make these 5250 units, there is a 12.5% degrade. So of the total 5250 units that I have to make, 12.5% will be degraded. So can I say this 5250 finished goods that I am going to get, are actually after the 12.5 degrade, because here these are the final goods which are going to be sold. So these obviously cannot be the downgraded ones. So can I say this is nothing but my 87.5? So how did you get that? 100 minus 12.5 degrade. So this is 87.5. I will ask that, okay, 100, what is the total units that I will have to make? I'll just look and I'll get 750. Sorry, I think it's 6,000 is the total production that I have to make. So 6,000 is the production that I will do. 12.5% will be degraded. 5250 is what I will be left with. Of which, so 5,250 is what I will produce. of which I will send in the market only 5,000, of which 5% will be returned back. 250 which were left will now be resent. I hope everything is now crystal clear. Thank you. Moving on. So 5250, for making that finished goods of 5250, I will have to make 6,000 units, production of 6,000. Now that will also reduce because my finished goods now that I have to make is only 5125. More so, the downgrade has reduced from 12.5 to 7.5, so 100 minus 7.5, so that will be 92.5. So just a cross multiplication and you will get 5541. So 5541 is the total finished goods that you will have to make. Now, previously it was 6,000. I hope you get the connect. We will come backwards again. So practically what is going to happen? Practically first you will get the goods from the supplier. Then you will input it in machine. Then finished goods will come out. Then it will be sold in the outside market. Practically this is what happens. Theoretically we will have to work backwards. Theoretically we will have to work backwards. Alright, so now quickly, from the finished goods, now we come to the materials, the inputs, correct, which are going to be put in the machine. So if you are going to put an input in the machine, that will have a 4% normal loss and then it will come out as a finished good. Now what are the total inputs that you require for that matter? So here it is written 8 square. See, that is the finished good. That is that what we have got is the finished product. Now this is 8 square meter. Alright. So now previously what was required was 6,000. So I'll just draw it here. 6,000 units were, final products were required and it takes around 8 square meters. So in all required is 48,000. So ideally what should happen? 48,000 inputs of material I will put in and 6,000 output is what I will get. But is that 48,000 the final figure? No. This is also how much? 96. So 100 is what I have to find out. Are we understanding, guys? Now you are understanding the correct. So here if you work backward then this will work out to 50,000. Now that has been reduced to 2.5%. So 5541, see there is a reduction everywhere. So it's good for me. Into 8. So 5541 into 8 will give me 44328. This 44328 represents 97.5. So 100 will be represented as 45465. So 45465 is the net input that is required, is the gross input that is required. Net accordingly will become 44328, which will give output as required. Okay? Then again coming back, so this is the raw material required. So ideally the raw material required is 50,000 units. So I will tell my supplier 50,000 raw material bhej do. But if he sends me 50,000 raw material, then in that case 5% is again going to be scrapped out. So again I will have to order for more. So here 50,000 is required, but this is not what I will get. I will have to order for 100, of which 95 is net what I will be left with. So that probably works out to 52632. 52632 is the total raw material required, whereas here if we work out, then in that case it is 45, again here it is 45465 reduced to 3, so this will become 97. So 100 will be 46871. So 46871 is the total inputs that we will order from the supplier. Now just imagine the huge quantum of reduction in cost that has resulted, because previously you used to order 52,632 units of raw material in order to get output, in order to sell 5,000 units. Now in order to sell 5,000 units you have to order 46,871 inputs. So that's a big difference that we are seeing. So looking at, so this is like around 6,000 units of raw material that we have to order less into 40 results into approximately 2,40,000 here itself. So but that's a big saving that we are going to make because of the quality management program. In each case, so this is what we had to analyze in this whole sum. Now, if you look at the PM, what they've done is they've just taken the cost on individual basis before, cost after, and you'll get a profit and loss account. All the other details are probably also given in the question. You can just go through that. Nothing great. One last thing, 0.6 running hours. Now it is 0.5 running hours. So there is a reduction there as well, and that probably also will result in cost savings, which can be attributed to the quality management program, right? So now you have your PM, just go through that and you will get the final solution. So in terms of numbers, I have written almost everything as far as the concept is concerned. The remaining rupees part can be solved on your own. Thank you. Alright, next in line is life cycle costing. Quickly go through that. So if you remember, introduction, growth, maturity, decline. So that is how the life cycle of a product is. So anybody, any businessman who is starting his new business wants to know the total life cycle cost of the product. So when he introduces, when it grows, when it matures, when it declines, what are the total costs which are there, what are the total sales that he is going to make, all of that, and the total profitability. So that is what we are going to see in life cycle costing. Again, we'll solve some 3 to 4 questions related to life cycle costing from your PM, and that should be more than sufficient. On that note, question number 25 from the Grey PM, WM Limited is the question. WM Limited is the question. So question number 25 of Grey PM. If you do not have that Grey PM, then WM Limited is the question that I'm going to read. So WM Limited, in WM Limited, the OB equipment is about to be replaced either by CF system or by an OF system. Finance costs 12% a year, and other estimated costs are as follows. So there is a CF system and there is a OF system. We have to choose between either of them. The finance cost is 12% a year. Okay. So what is the finance cost? That is basically your opportunity cost. That is there. So initial cost 28,000, 40,000. So initial cost that we have to incur in order to purchase the product, one CF is 28,000. So this is 28,000, whereas OF is 40,000. So this is 40,000. So this is the initial cost that we have to incur. Annual operating cost 24,000 per annum and 18,000 per annum. So 24,000 per annum here, whereas 18,000 per annum here. Alright, continue. If the company is expected to either the new installment to last for 12 years, which system should be chosen? So this will continue for 12 years. This 24,000 and this 18,000 is going to continue for 12 years. Now, just look at this. Only if this information is given to us, 28,000, 40,000, I will choose OF. I will choose CF. Why? Because lower cost. Additional information is given 24,000. This is like the maintenance cost. Maintenance cost is higher in case of CF and lower in case of OF. Now this is where the confusion comes and I have to take a decision. If this was 40 and this was 24, if this was 28 and this was 18, then you don't need a chartered accountant to make a decision, right? Then it is plain Jane question that we have. But because one of the cost is higher here and one of the cost is higher here, that is where we are confused and we want to take a decision. So initial cost, on the basis of that, I will choose CF. Now let us add the maintenance cost as well. So 24,000 every year that we are going to incur. Ideally 12 years here and 12 years here is what we will multiply. So total cost will, life cycle cost will be 24,000 into 12 plus 28,000 and 18,000 into 12 plus 40,000. But because the finance cost is given, in such a case, we will find the present value of this 24,000 for the next 12 years. Capital budgeting is what you've done. I need not explain you that. So you will ask me, sir, what is the annuity factor? The annuity factor for 12%, 12 years is 6.194. 6.194, 6.194. Again, I am telling you, if this information, 12% finance cost information is not given to me, then in that case, my decision will be based on 24,000 into 12 plus 28,000 or 18,000 into 12 plus 40,000. But because that additional information is given to me, therefore, I will convert this 24,000 which I am paying yearly on a PV basis and this 18,000 per annum which I have written here on a PV basis. Once both all of that is done, then we will find out what exactly is the total cost, and that will be the basis for taking the final decision. So here 28,000 plus 24,000 into 6.194, it will be 148,656. So 148,656. 148,656 plus 28,000, total 176,656, and here 18,000 into 6.194 will give me 111,492. Sorry, 111,492 plus 40,000, so that will work out 151,492, and therefore now I will choose OF because that is the one with lowest cost. So that is what I will choose based on PV and all the points. All right, we move on to the next question. Question number 26. The name of the question is a company is planning to launch a new product. So company is planning to launch a new product is the question. You can just go through that. Now, a company is planning a new product. Market research information suggests that 40,000 of the product can be sold at a maximum of rupees 25 per unit. So 40,000 units is the expected sales. So can I write your expected sales at 25 per unit. So this is the expected sales that we have. The company seeks a minimum markup of 25% on product cost. So here I have a selling price which is 25 per unit. They have said that the markup that they are expecting is 25% but on cost. So can I say that if it is on cost, then let cost be 100, this will be 25, this will be 70, sorry, this will be 125, correct? Cross multiply and you will get this as 20. So 20 plus 25% will in each case give me 5, so 25. So I am expecting a cost of 20 per unit. I'll just repeat the question again. A company is planning a new product. Market research information suggests that 40,000 units of the product can be sold at a maximum of rupees 25 per unit selling price. Company seeks a minimum markup of 25% on product cost. So 25% on product cost. It is estimated that lifetime cost of the product will be as follows. So now they have given me the entire information of the product cost. So it is research and development 1,50,000. So then there is research and development 1,50,000. Then we have manufacturing cost which is 16 per unit. So manufacturing is 16 per unit. Then end of life costs. So end of life cost, there is no salvage but a cost which is 70,000. And last is production, promotion and capacity cost 20,000. Promotion and capacity cost of 20,000. They have asked me whether this product should be manufactured or not. See, I want a 25% markup on cost. My cost is 20. I have the total cost that they have given. Total number of units that I am going to produce is 40,000. I have to check whether it matches the target cost that I have or not. So 1,50,000, if I divide by 40,000, I will get the R&D cost on a per unit basis. So 1,50,000 divided by 40,000 will give me 3.75. Then you have this which is already there in terms of per unit basis. Then you have 70,000 divided by 40,000 which will approximately be 1.75. Then you have 20,000 divided by 40,000 which will be approximately 0.5. Totality we work 19.75, 19, 20, 21.5 and 22. So the total cost per unit that we are going to incur is 22. Target cost that we have calculated is 20, and therefore we will not make the product because it is not yielding us the required markup that we want. So we will not manufacture the product. Next question is question 27. It is PGIL with product K. There is one more question on PGIL that makes alpha cube. This is product K. Question number 27 as far as PM is concerned, just reading the question, pay attention. PGIL Limited has developed a new product K, which is about to be launched into the market and anticipates to sell 80,000 of these units at a sale price of 300 over the product's life cycle of 4 years. So expected sales is 80,000 units. 80,000 units. Selling price is 300 per unit. Data pertaining to the product K are as follows. Cost of design and development of mold, ties and other tools. So that cost they have given. So can I say I will write down here in short as design cost, which is 8,25,000. Then you have manufacturing cost, which they have given as 125 per unit. So it will be 125 into 80,000. Then is selling cost. Then is selling cost, which is 12,500 per year plus 100 per unit. 100 into 80,000. Next in line, admin cost, which is 50,000. Then there is warranty, which says 5 replacement parts per 25 units. So every 25 units, 5 replacement part. Every 25 units, 5 replacement parts. So out of 8, how many units are we making? We are making 80,000 units. So if there are 80,000 units, then 5 replacement parts for every 25. So divide by 25. So for these many parts, there will be 5 parts, and per part the cost is 10. 1. And there is one more, which is 1 visit per 500 units. So for 80,000 units, there will be, these are the total number of visits that we are going to make. So every 500 units, 1 visit is there. So total for 80,000, these are the visits, and per visit the cost is 500, which will give us a total cost. So compute the product K's life cycle cost is what we have to make, and I said the total of this is going to give me the life cycle cost of product K. Fairly simple. So 125 into 80,000 is 100 lakhs. Selling cost 12,500 plus 80,000. So this is 12,500 plus 80 lakhs, so which is 81 lakh. So 81 lakh. 92 lakh. Sorry. 500. So it is 80 lakh plus 12,500, which works out to, okay, this is showing something else. Okay, 12,500 per year, and okay, so now this is where even I goofed up. Please pay attention. So 12,500 into 4. So that will work out to 12,500 into 4 is 50,000. This is 80 lakhs. So 80 lakh. 50,000 is what I have. 92 lakh, I don't know why did I write. Anyways, spare me. So this 12,500 that we have is per year, and the total life cycle of the product is 4 years. Keep this small thing in mind. The total life cycle of the product is 4 years, whereas this 12,500 is per annum. So keep this small thing in mind. Admin is again, I think, 50,000 per annum. So 50,000 into 4 will give me 2 lakh. So I'll write here 2 lakh. Then there is a warranty, which we calculated. So we just write here it is 1,60,000 here and 80,000 here. And I say, so if I total up, I will get the product life cycle cost, which is 1 crore 80, and you can just add it up. It will work out to 1 crore 93 lakh 15,000. Just a cross check. 8 lakh 25, 1 crore 80 lakh 50,000, 2 lakh, 1 lakh 60, and 80,000. All right. Then the second aspect, the B part of this same question is, suppose PGIL can increase the sales volume by 25% through 10% reduction in selling price. So currently the selling price is 300 per unit. So now what it wants to do is, if it reduces by 10%, so which is 270, then in that case sales volume will increase by 25%. So this will become from 80,000 at 25% will become 1 lakh, and this selling price from 300, 10% reduction will become to 70. So this is the total cost, total sales that now we are expecting. Again, design, so we want to understand what are the changes in terms of cost. So 8,25,000 we still have. Manufacturing cost now 125 into 1 lakh will become 1 crore 25 lakhs. This will become 50,000 as it was, plus 100 into 1 lakh, which will become 1 crore 50,000. So 100, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 100 lakh, 50,000. So 50,000 plus 100 lakhs here. I hope you got this 100 lakhs. It is 100 into 1 lakh. Here 125 into 1 lakh. Then there is admin, which I think will remain, yes, unchanged. Then, yes, 1 lakh divided by 25 for the warranty. 1 lakh divided by 25 into 5 into 10. No change there probably. So, this 5 ones are 5 5s are 5 ones are 5 2s are. So, I think this will become 2 lakh. And 1 lakh divided by 500 into 500, this will become 1 lakh. And my total cost in turn will work out to be, so 825, 1 crore 25 lakhs, 1 crore 50,000, 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 1 lakh, total works out to 23875,000. So 23875,000. These are my total costs. Now case 1, total sales are 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, less total cost is 193,15,000. And case 2, total sales are 270,000, less total cost of 23875,000. This gives me a net profit of 46,85,000, whereas case 2 gives me a net profit of 31,25,000. I should not go with cost reduction or sales price reduction, because that will reduce my profit drastically by approximately 15 lakhs. So I should not go ahead with that. Okay, next in line, question number 30. So question 28 question is similar to question number 27. Again, you have to find out the product life cycle cost. Question 29 is the one which is same as your learning curve theory. So you can refer to the learning curve practical sessions and you will understand question number 29. Now we are coming to question number 30. This is a recently introduced question. PGIL and alpha cube is the name of the question. I have received a lot of queries, especially in relation to this question. So please focus here, even in my fast track batches and in general. I've received a lot of queries for this. So pay attention. PGIL Limited has developed a new product Alpha Cube, which is about to be launched in the market. Company has spent 30 lakh on R&D of product Alpha Cube. Also bought a machine to produce Alpha Cube costing 11,25,000. Capacity of producing 1,100 units per week. Machine has no residual value. Company has decided to charge price that will change with cumulative number of units sold. Cumulative sales, selling price per unit. So from 0 to 2,200 sales, the price is 750 per unit. Then from 2,201 to 7,700 sales, selling price is 600 per unit. And then from 7,701 to 15,950, the selling price is 525. So if you clearly observe, the selling price is reducing as the cumulative sales units are increasing. First, highest price, when the product is just launched, just introduced, at that point in time it is highest price. So can I say, see, there are two ways mainly. One is skimming policy and one is penetration policy. Penetration policy will start with the lowest of the price, even at times less than the cost of the product, just to enter the market and expand. And then there is skimming price, which starts with a higher price and then you lower down the selling price. So probably they've adopted a skimming policy here as far as what prima facie looks. 15,951 to 59,950, 450 and 59,951 and above 300 is the selling price. So can I say that they've given a whole range as the number of sales are increasing, the selling price is decreasing. So we will have to make a statement which will ensure and give me those numbers, because as I keep on making the statements, I need to ensure that the numbers are on the correct line. Then based on these selling prices, it is expected that the sales demand will be as shown below. So connect number 2. First connect was selling price changing based on cumulative sales. Connect number 2. Connect number 2 is as the weeks are changing, the sales demand is also changing. We have a capacity of 1,500 per week, but probably that is not the whole demand for the whole week, right? So that demand may be reached in a growth stage. Definitely not at introduction or a decline stage. So that again, my demand varies based on the number of weeks. So 1 to 10 it is 220, sales demand keeps on increasing, 220, then 550, 825, 1000, then reducing 880, 660, 440, 220, and finally the sales are nil. Then unit variable costs are expected to be as follows. So selling price changing, sales demand changing, variable cost changing. So what is that? First 2,200 units, 375. Next 13,750. Next 22,000. Next 22,000. Thereafter, again the variable cost is also decreasing, increasing. First decreasing, then increasing. So that's how it works. There are fluctuation in variable cost as well. Again, I will have to ensure that a proper statement is made so that there is no confusion as regards what is the selling price when, at which stage, and what is the variable cost at which stage. So I have to be very particular as regards that. PGIL uses just-in-time production system. Following is the total contribution statement of the product alpha cube for its introduction and growth phase. Weeks, introduction, growth is what they have given. So weeks, number of units produced and sold, selling price, variable cost, total contribution per unit, total contribution, everything is given. Maturity phase. Now we have to find out the required part, which is prepare the total contribution statement for each of the remaining 2 phases. So they have already given the introduction and growth phase, already given in the question. Everything, the sales, the weeks, the selling price, contribution, total contribution, everything is given. So obviously we do not have to find out that. Prepare the total contribution statement for each of the remaining 2 phases. Which are the remaining 2 phases left? Can I say it is the maturity stage and the decline stage. So these are the 2 stages left, and that is what the statement of profitability that we will have to make. But before getting into that, we will need to know that at maturity stage, at decline stage, what is the selling price, what is the cost. Also, we will have to determine from which week does the maturity start, and from which week does the decline start. So that also makes it very important. I think maturity will start from the 31st week, because till 30th week they have already told that it is the growth stage. So from 31st week the maturity will start, but we will have to determine when does the decline start. Probably the trigger point being the decrease in selling price. So we will have to make a proper statement, which I have already made, which you can also find in your PM, which determines at every point in time what exactly is my total sales, cumulative, selling price, variable cost, all of that, so that making of the statement as far as contribution is concerned becomes much easier. So focus more on the working notes and its simplicity, and things will become easier. So here from 1 to 10 weeks, so what is the demand per week? In the initial week it is 2,200 per week. So what will be the total sales? So 220 per week is the demand per week. So there are total 10 weeks here. So 220 into 10 is 2,200 is the total sales that is there. Cumulative sales, first 10 weeks will always be the same. Selling price per unit. So selling price per unit here, we'll take the first one, which is 750, and the variable cost is 375. No changes here because this is the first line item of the table. Then we move on. Then for the next demand, it is 11 to 20. So for 11 to 20, what is the demand per week that they have given? It is 550 is the demand per week. Total sales accordingly will be. So see, these are 11 to 20, means in all 10 weeks, 550 is the demand per week. So which gives me total sales of 5,500. Cumulatively, it is 7,700. Selling price. Now, if you can look at the selling price,
See, this selling price from 2201 to 7700 is 600 per unit. So we'll write down 600. Variable cost for the first 2200 is 375, and next 13750 units it is 300. So this is 300. So we'll have to keep a mark. So till the next 13750, so in all total till the time we reach 15,950, the variable cost is going to remain 300. Then we move on to 21 to 30 next week. So which is demand per week is 825. 825 into 10, total sales is 8250. What will be the cumulative sales? Somebody calculate. So 7,700 plus 8250 will give me 15,950. If you all remember, that is the trigger point for variable cost. So till 15,950, the rate will remain same. Let's look at the selling price. Selling price from 7701, which is this, to 15950 is 525. So I write here 525. I continue from 31 to 40. Again, demand per week is from 31 to 70. The demand is 1,100. So I'll write here demand per week is 1,100. 1,100. Now, what is the selling price? Selling price from 15,951 to 59,950 is 450. So selling price is 450. Total sales here is 1,100 into 40, which is 44,000. Cumulative sales will become 59,950. Selling price per unit 450. What is the variable cost? Variable cost next 22,000 is 225. Hold on. So for the next 22,000 they have given, and then there is again a change for next 22,000. So can I say I will have to change this from 31 to 50 weeks so that only 22,000 units. So only 22,000 units are accumulated here, correct? This will in total give me 37,950, selling price 450 per unit, and variable cost per unit here is changed to 225. The reason we are doing this, because there is a trigger off in the variable cost per unit. Now 51 to 70, again 1,100, we are continuing. 22,000, no change here. 59,950, which is now cumulatively 59,950, which is 450, but here the variable cost is 188, and probably this is the reason we have to calculate this in a split. We will continue from 71 to 80. The demand per week is given to be 880. So here this will become 8,800. 59,950 plus 8,800 will give me 68,750. We are understanding. Selling price per unit now 59,950 and above 300. So now anything we can just blindly write 300 as far as selling price is concerned. And for variable cost is thereafter 225. I think 225. So we can blindly write 225, 225, 225 without any issues. Because this is changing, therefore we will have to find out individually. Otherwise, we would have written directly till 110 or so. Then 81 to 90. 81 to 90, the demand reduces to 660, 6,600. Cumulatively, I think this will be 75, 350. Moving on to 91 to 100. This will become 440. Then we have 4,400 accordingly. 79,750. Right? And then lastly 101 to 110, which will be 220. Total works out to 2,200. And then it will be 81,950. 81,950. 300 and 225, and then beyond 110 the sales stop because there is no demand at all. Now this is such an important working note that we have made. If you do not make this working note, you will not be able to find out which exactly is the deviation from maturity to the decline stage. Now, here, let us quickly find out when does that happen. See, till 31 to 50, they have already told that it is, so till 21 to 30, they have already told us that it is growth stage. Now, this is where the maturity stage starts. This, the demand is in 1,100 to the peak. This is again 1,100 at its peak. And then this, I think, is where the decline starts. Decline, decline, and finally game over. So, probably this is the stage where decline is starting. So, we will term this as the maturity stage and this as the decline stage. Alright, so for us, now the maturity stage, I hope you are clear with this. See, the sales are at its peak at the maturity stage and this is what you can see. And when they start to fall, this is where the decline stage starts. This is what is pretty much evident from the point made here. We continue, and as we continue, we can write here that 31 to 70 is my maturity stage, can be easily seen from there, and 71 to 110 is my decline stage, correct? So from 31 to up to 70 is maturity and 71 to 110 is decline. I have my selling price. Okay, so your selling price is 450, but if you closely observe, there is a change in variable cost. Yes, we remember that's the reason of the split. So we'll have to split it again here as well in order to calculate the correct contribution. 31 to 50, 51 to 70. Again, it is still the maturity stage. Selling price 450, 450, 300 throughout. Less variable cost 225 here, but 188 here and 225 throughout, giving us contribution per unit multiplied by number of units. So basically this is nothing but the demand. This is the demand which we are going to multiply it with. So 31 to 50, what is the demand? The 31 to 50, the total demand is 22,000. Don't look at cumulative. Only for that particular week it is 22,000. Now see, the things become so easier, all thanks to this beautiful table that they've made in the PM, and obviously we've got it here as well. So next 51 to 70, again 22,000, and this 22,000 will be written here. From 71 to 110, we will have to total up this. So 8,800 plus 6,600 is 14, 15,400, 15,800, 19,800, 22,000. Oh, so 22,000 here as well. The contribution per unit that we are going to get multiplied by the demand, total contribution that we will get in the remaining phases, remaining two phases, which is maturity and decline. And probably this is the question that they have asked. I hope we are pretty much clear with the way things are solved. So here, just in terms of numbers, this will become 225. 450 minus 188 becomes 262. And this is 75 in terms of total contribution, 49,50,000. Then there is 57,64,000. And finally it is 16,50,000. So 16.5 lakh, 16,50,000. So this is how the whole structure looks like. Any questions? Right. So now continuing with the second part, which is discuss the pricing strategy of the product for Alpha Cube. We've already discussed. It is the same skimming policy that they've used, starting with the high price and then declining, and find the possible reasons for changes in cost during the life cycle of the product. So yes, variable cost has also changed. I feel, or probably what could be the reason, is that the total sales is decreasing. As a result of that, see, now the total sales is increasing. Overall, the total sales is increasing. So as the total sales is increasing, obviously the production is increasing. If the production is increasing, we are buying in bulk. If we are buying in bulk, we are getting bulk discount, which has stopped here, and therefore the cost increases here. So till the growth stage, there is a steady decline. because our purchases are in bulk, allowing us to ask for, demand for, negotiate for quantity discount. But as my decline stage starts, the sales decrease, as a result production decrease, as a result the quantity that I was purchasing decrease, and as a result discounts decrease, and as a result the variable cost increase. That sums up third part as well. Alright? Okay, now so we will shift our base to practical questions of JIT just in time. If you'll remember the theory lecture, I told you all that, see, if you switch from your normal system of inventory maintenance to JIT just in time maintenance, then in that case there will be certain increase in cost, there will be certain decrease in cost. That cost benefit analysis is what will have to be done, and finally we will see whether JIT is to be implemented or not. So on that note, just again briefing you up: increase purchase cost, increase ordering cost, decrease carrying cost, increase stock out cost. All of these things are to be analyzed, and finally we will decide whether it is good to go for JIT or not. On that note, we will start with a PM question, Gray PM, typical question on JIT, question 31, page 1.22, 122. So question 31, page 1.122. Okay, I am starting. UVIC sells package of blank videotapes to its customer. It purchases videotape from Indian Tape Company at the rate 140 a package. ITC pays all the freight to UVIC. No incoming inspection is necessary because ITC has a superb reputation for delivery of quality merchandise. Annual demand 13,000 packages. UVIC requires 15% return on investment. So all of this information will be used. So annual demand is 13,000 packages. Cost per package is 140. So I'll just immediately keep on writing here 13,000 into 140. Then purchase order lead time 2 weeks. Purchase order is passed through internet and it costs 2 per order. So 2 per order. So that is my ordering cost. So cost per order here is 2. In this case is 2. Then relevant insurance material handling at 3.10 per package. So can I say that is my carrying cost? So into 3.10 and that into 0.15. 15% of return on investment was also another carrying cost. UVIC has to decide whether or not to shift to JIT purchasing. ITC agrees to deliver 100 packages of videotapes 130 times per year instead of existing delivery system of 1000 packages 13 times a year. So see, JIT किया तो 13 times से 130 times पे चलेगा, 10 times increase. So मेरा उस हिसाब से ordering cost increase होगा. यहाँ पे ordering cost is 13 into 2, but now my ordering cost will be higher because now I am ordering probably 130 times. So there my ordering cost increases. Are you understanding? But carrying cost सामने ऊपर नीचे होगा. So here I will have to carry them. So half into, what is the order size? Order size is 1000, 100 packages. Sorry, 1000 packages 13 times a year. So order size is 1000 into purchase cost is 140. So this becomes one carrying cost and the other is half into 1000 into 3.10. So this is my other carrying cost. Correct? Alright, then I don't think so there is any stock out as such. So here 13,000 into 140, 18,20,000. So 18,20,000 is my purchase cost. 13 into 2, 26. Half into 1000 into 140 into 0.15 is 10,500. Carrying cost is half into 1000 into 3.1 equal to 3.10. There is no inspection, no stock out, no customer return. And if you total it up, then it 1832076 is the total cost that we are incurring in the first system. Now cut 2. Cut 2 is shift to JIT1 policy. UVIC has to decide, ITC agrees to deliver 100 packages of videotapes 130 times per year instead of existing 1000 package. तो मतलब ये अपन लोग shift हो गए हैं JIT के ऊपर. So 130 into 2, 260 मेरा यहाँ पे आ गया. But उसकी वजह से क्या होगा, देखो अभी मेरा ordering cost increase हो गया, देखो ना 226 का 260. Then purchase cost, UVIC incurs with an additional amount of 0.02 per package. I told you purchase cost भी थोड़ा सा बढ़ेगा. हल्का बट बड़ा तो सही। सो यहाँ पे अभी हो जाएगा 13,000 into 140.02 which probably works out to 1820260 260 minimal increase but yes increased. Carrying cost कम हो जाएगा. It is estimated that UVIC incurs no stock out under its current purchasing policy, तो अपना stock out zero रखा है अपन ने. It is estimated that UVIC incurs a stock out cost on 50 videotapes packages under a JIT purchasing policy. In the event of a stock out, UVIC has to rush order tape packages which cost ₹4 per package. Stock out cost मतलब basically extra cost that you may have to incur. Say for example मैं अभी एक होटल में हूँ, होटल में मैं स्प्राइट रखता हूँ, ठीक है ना, तो स्प्राइट मैं क्या बल्क में उठाता हूँ ना, तो मेरे को स्प्राइट पड़ता है 10 रुपए का जो मैं 15 रुपए में बेचता हूँ. अब मेरे पास स्प्राइट खत्म हो गया बट कस्टमर का ऑर्डर आया तो मेरे को स्प्राइट लाना तो पड़ेगा बट वो तो मेरा स्टॉक आउट हो गया, तो वही चीज मेरे को अभी शायद 15 रुपए में लाना पड़ेगा, 20 रुपए में लाना पड़ेगा, बट मेरे को कस्टमर को सेटिस्फाई करना पड़ेगा सो दैट ही डजंट गो एनीवेयर एल्स. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? तो दैट इज माय स्टॉक आउट कॉस्ट. In the event of a stock out, UVIC has to rush order tape packages at 4 per package. Comment whether UVIC should implement JIT systems. JIT का मेरा ये first part done and dusted, second part done and dusted, third part is half into अभी मेरा ये order size कितना हो गया है? It is now reduced to 100 packages into 140.02 into 0.15. Just the amount 1050, 1000 का 100 हो गया है. Same इधर भी सिस्टम हो जाएगा. So it will be half into 100 packages हो गया है into 3.10. So it will be, it was 1550 here, 1550 here divided by 10, 155 हो जाएगा. स्टॉक आउट अभी यहाँ पे होने वाला है कितना? 50 packages into 4 per package. तो स्टॉक आउट यहाँ पे होने वाला है. इंस्पेक्शन और कस्टमर रिटर्न का कुछ बोला नहीं है. टोटल 1821295, 1821295 डायरेक्ट रिडक्शन हो गया मेरा. सो मेजर रिडक्शन देखो क्या हुआ पता है? परचेज कॉस्ट बढ़ा कितने से? 260 से. ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट भी बढ़ा कितने से? अप्रोक्सीमेटली 240 से समझ लो. कैरिंग कॉस्ट कम हुआ अप्रोक्सीमेटली 9000 से. सो दैट वाज आई थिंक 9500 से. So that is the game changer. Stock out cost बढ़ा but 200 से. So ये 9500 कम हुआ and the increase was minimal, resulting into approximately 10,000 saving when if I shift to JIT 1. Now there is one more thing that they've added. HTC also supplies videotapes, agrees to supply at 136 per package under JIT delivery system. Now this is something which is interesting. Ideally तो बढ़ता है, यहाँ पे कम हो गया है. Good for us. So यहाँ पे this will then be 1768. Okay. Ordering cost, number of orders कितना है मेरा? टोटल नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स अभी JIT है, JIT में 130 into cost per order will remain same. This will be half into 100 packages into अभी मेरा प्राइस हो गया है 136. मेरा discounting cost is this. It works out to 1020. Continuing. However, 136, if videotape purchased from HTC, relevant carrying cost would be 3 per package as against 3.10. So here there is again a saving. So half into 100 into 3. So I think that will work out to 150. Then, however, HTC doesn't enjoy so sterling a reputation for quality. UVIC anticipates the following negative aspects. So कुछ पाया है तो कुछ खोना पड़ेगा. देखते हैं क्या. To incur additional inspection cost of 5 पैसे per package. So inspection cost जो otherwise था ही नहीं, अभी total 13,000 packages into 0.05 मेरे को उतना लग जाएगा, which is my inspection cost. This will work out to 650. Correct? Next is average stock out 360 packages per year would occur, largely resulting from late deliveries. HTC cannot rush orders at short notice. UIC anticipates lost contribution margin per package of ₹8 from stock out. So stock out की वजह से मेरे को 8 का contribution जाएगा. 360 total stock out हो रहा है into 8. So that works out to 2880. Oh, that stock out is the cost because that's a contribution that I am losing because of stock out. तो अभी वो कहीं और जा रहा है तो उतना मेरा contribution lose out हो रहा है. Now, last, customer would likely to return 2% of all packages due to poor quality of the tape, and to handle this return, additional cost of 25 per package will be incurred. So 13,000 में से 2% तो return, वो तो ठीक है, उसके वजह से कॉस्ट कितना हो रहा है 25 का, टोटलिंग टू 6500 एंड 1779460. I will go ahead with JIT2, which is the cheapest, which is I think my case of HTC. So quickly done, and that is what this question represents. So देखा अपन लोग ने JIT होने की वजह से how the total cost has big time reduced, and that's what we will watch for. So यहाँ से यहाँ पे गया प्राइस कम हुआ, यहाँ से यहाँ पे गया प्राइस और कम हुआ. We will select this, the best option. Immediately next question 32. Again of Gray PM KP Limited manufactures and sells one product. Now a peculiar part of this question is that the just-in-time policy that is to be used in not for material, but it is for the hours, for the labor hours we are going to use, and we are going to draw the whole JIT policy. Current system JIT. I have already drawn like the pro forma which is already there. We will fill in using concept, but this is done only keeping the time factor in mind so that we do not waste time on making the formats and all. And again, don't be too rigid about the formats. Upar niche hua chalega till the time the concept is flowing in and the answer is flowing in. Not, it doesn't matter. KPA Limited manufactures and sells one product. Kia managing director is not happy with its purchasing and production system. Chal bhai JIT pe aaja. So that is what they have written. बाद में second paragraph में JIT का ज्ञान बांटा है, already done in theory. Now, third paragraph is where the question starts. KPL is dependent on contractual labor which has efficiency of 95 for its production. The labor has to be paid minimum 4,000 hours per month, to which they produce 3,800. So 4,000 into 95% correctly said. तो 4,000 hours काम किया तब जाके 3,800 का standard hours बनता है. So you can say in such scenarios जब hours के ऊपर हुआ है तो 1 hour is equal to 1 output वैसा. So 4,000 hours किया तो 95% मतलब 3,800 का probably output बनेगा. For availing services of labor above 4,000 hours in a month, KPL has to pay overtime 45% in the normal rate of 110. So normal rate है 110 per hour. Overtime किया plus 45% premium add कर दो. Avoiding this overtime payment, KPL in its current production and purchase plan utilizes full available normal working hours so that higher inventory levels in the month of lower demand would be able to meet sales of month with higher demand level. KPL has determined that cost of holding inventory is 70 per month. So carrying cost is 70. Here what is your inventory? It is the labor hours. Do not get confused. Forecast दिया है अपने को demand का. All other production are fixed, not driven by labor hours worked. Fair enough. Production and sales occur evenly. As the chief accountant, you are requested to comment on managing director's view. तो JIT पे जाए या current system को follow करे. तो current system को अगर मैं देखता हूँ, then in that case मेरे को every year का देखो demand देखो. देखो अभी यहाँ पे opening inventory तो कुछ नहीं है. First month है इसके लिए. Production मेरे को total every month fix है. 3,000 ऐसा तो material. तो 3,000 units, 3,800 units मेरे गोडाउन में मेरे फैक्ट्री में आता ही है रॉ मटेरियल. 3,800 यूनिट्स का रॉ मटेरियल आ गया, 3,800 यूनिट्स का रॉ मटेरियल आ गया, 3,800 यूनिट्स का रॉ मटेरियल आ गया. उतना रॉ मटेरियल आ गया, उससे मैं प्रोडक्शन करूंगा. 3,800 यूनिट्स का से फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने प्रोडक्शन किया, बट उतने का जरूरत नहीं है. जरूरत कितना है, जितना डिमांड है उतना. सो अभी 3,800 आवर्स मैंने प्रोड्यूस किया, वो मेरे को एवरी मंथ प्रोड्यूस करना है. यही तो प्रॉब्लम है इसका. फिक्सेड आ जाता है, देखता नहीं है कि कितना डिमांड है, उस हिसाब से आना. JIT वही देखता है. डिमांड कितना है अभी मेरा 3,150. तो 3,150 का डिमांड है, 650 का इन्वेंट्री पड़ा रह गया है. वही चीज अगर मैं JIT में देखता ना तो कुछ पड़ा नहीं रहता, क्योंकि जब चाहिए उतना जितना चाहिए उतना. तो ना अभी उतना मेरे को इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट लेना पड़ेगा. अभी इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट इज हाफ of the total this inventory. So अभी मेरा inventory का opening half basically will be opening closing divided by 2, which will work out to 325 into 70. तो उतना मेरा inventory carrying cost हो जाएगा. So that probably will work out to 22,750. तो ये मेरा inventory carrying cost हो गया. Next we continue. Opening inventory अभी ये मेरा इधर 650 आ जाएगा. मैं तो एवरीवन फिक्सेड है, उतना मैं यूनिट्स मंगा ही रहा हूं, उतना आवर्स यूज कर ही रहा हूं. डिमांड कितने का है वो तो देख भाई, डिमांड तो खाली 3,760 का है. समझा क्या? तो 40 तो अभी भी बच गया, प्लस 650, तो टोटल 690 बचा हुआ है. एवरेज देखता हो तो 650 690 कहने से 670 into 70 टोटल विल वर्क आउट टू 46,900. दिस क्लोजिंग बिकम्स ओपनिंग. 690 का मेरा ओपनिंग बन गया, एट प्रोडक्शन 3800, डिमांड में देखूं तो ओहो ये बार क्या बात है 4060 का डिमांड है. सो यहाँ पे सी देव टोल्ड दैट दोज आवर्स आर एडजस्टेबल लाइक मटेरियल, द आवर्स आर एडजस्टेबल बोला है तो विल अंडरस्टैंड इट दैट मैनर. तो अभी मेरा जो क्लोजिंग बचेगा दैट विल बी लेस, सो दैट वर्क्स आउट टू 430. एवरेज 1120 का हाफ इज 560 into 70, सो टोटल मेरा कितना हो गया, इट वर्क्स आउट टू 39,200. यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग. अप्रैल क्या मेरा ओपनिंग इन्वेंट्री हो जाएगा 430, 3800. एक्चुअली डिमांड आया खाली 3350 का, 3350 का 880 का मेरा क्लोजिंग है. Average will be 880 plus 430 divided by 2, which works out to 655 into 70. That will work out to 45850. So 45850. Next closing becomes opening. So इधर मेरा 880 का opening आ गया, 3800 है, less demand. अभी demand कितने का है ये बार? It is 3650. So 3650 का मेरा demand है, उतना मैंने less किया 1030. The whole system will गो ऑन. अभी ठीक है चलो कर लेते हैं कंप्लीट. 1030 का मेरा क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री बच गया, 955 का एवरेज इन्वेंट्री, 955 into 70. अब टोटल वर्क्स आउट टू 66850, 66850. क्लोजिंग बिकम्स ओपनिंग 1030. ये बात चाहिए कितना, ओहो 4830. क्या बात है. क्लोजिंग टैली 515 into 70. And that works out to 36050. So ये मेरा total carrying cost है, which hopefully will reduce when I shift to JIT. So that total works out to 257,600. अब अगर मेरा 257,600 से कम होता है, then in that case I will say that I will go ahead with JIT. तो वहां पे probably inventory carrying cost ना होके overtime hours लग जाएगा, क्योंकि मेरे को पता नहीं है, मुझे शायद अलग से बाद में based on my demand मुझे ऑर्डर करना पड़े. सो दैट इज व्हाट आई विल हैव टू कीप ऑन वाचिंग. सो अभी मेरा डिमांड कितना है 3150 का, तो मैं प्रोडक्शन कितने का करूंगा 3150 का. अवेलेबल मेरे पास है 3800 आवर्स. तो मेरे को कुछ शॉर्टेज पड़ रहा है क्या? नहीं, नथिंग. मंगाए नहीं, जरूरत ही नहीं है. सो दैट सी दिस इज द बेस्ट पार्ट ऑफ JIT. यहाँ पे मुझे उतना कैरी करना पड़ा, 3800 आवर्स में एवरी मंथ प्रोड्यूस करता ही हूँ. यहाँ पे मुझे जितना जरूरत डिमांड है उतना ही मैंने प्रोड्यूस किया. यू अंडरस्टैंड. So अगेन बेनिफिट के वो फिर मैं कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर पाया. यहाँ पे कुछ कैरी फॉरवर्ड का सिस्टम ही नहीं, बिकॉज जितना है उतना ही प्रोड्यूस किया, नो कैरी फॉरवर्ड. बट हाँ कभी ज्यादा का जरूरत पड़ा तो उतना ओवर टाइम देने के लिए रेडी रहो. कॉस्ट बेनिफिट दैट इज व्हाट वी आर एनालाइजिंग. नेक्स्ट मेरे को 3760 चाहिए, तो 3760 ले भाई. 3760 अपने पास है 3800, तो कुछ शॉर्टेज नहीं पड़ा, कोई टेंशन नहीं. कंटिन्यू. फिर 4060 का जरूरत पड़ेगा. 4060 ही मंगाएंगे. अपने पास है कितना 3800, तो शॉर्टेज कितना पड़ा 260 का, बराबर है. सो 260 का शॉर्टेज पड़ रहा है, तो मेरे को OT आवर्स कितना जरूरत लगेगा. सी 260 आवर्स शॉर्टेज पड़ रहा है. इफ यू सी 95% का मेरा है, वो है एफिशिएंसी रेट है, तो 260 आवर्स मुझे एक्चुअल चाहिए, तो उसके लिए लगेगा 260 डिवाइड बाय 0.95 which works out to 274 आवर्स. 274 आवर्स जब कम करेंगे ना, उसमें 95% का एफिशिएंसी लग के 260 आवर्स जो नेट मुझे चाहिए वो यहाँ पे मुझे मिल जाएगा. OT पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा 110 प्लस 45% 159.5 के हिसाब से into 274 is what I will do. It works out to 43,652. I will continue the process. अप्रैल में 3350 चाहिए, तो 3350 मेरे पास 3800 है. नो टेंशन. मई में 3650 मेरे पास 3650 मंगाएगा मैं, 3800 है. नो टेंशन. एंड लास्टली जून में ह्यूज अमाउंट रिक्वायर्ड 4830. सो 4830 चाहिए. मेरे पास है खाली 3800, तो ऊपर का जो 1030 है वो मेरे को शॉर्टेज पड़ेगा. तो 1030 डिवाइड बाय 0.95 इज व्हाट आई विल हैव टू ऑर्डर. सो उतना मैं ऑर्डर करता हूँ अप्रोक्सीमेटली 1084 को 159.5 के हिसाब से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे. वी विल गेट 172931 एंड 172931 इज द टोटल cost that will be incurred. So
When I total that up, that works out to 216,583, and very much evident that it results into approximately 40,000 reduction of cost just by shifting to JIT. So again, a very useful system in first part, second part, all of the parts is what we are seeing. Next is question 33, Innovation Limited on similar line. ऐसा जो diagram बना है ना वैसा ही diagram बना रहेगा. That's the reason I am not again resolving it. You will get an idea. एक idea दे देता हूँ. So इसमें भी वो लोग ने sales unit दिया है, expected demand दिया है. All of that information is giving. पहले normal हिसाब से बनाने का. Opening same to same. Production कितना demand, closing inventory के हिसाब से average inventory, उसका inventory carrying cost. वही चीज मेरा यहाँ पे overtime का अगर मैं देखता हूँ तो demand सी प्रोडक्शन इन ओवर टाइम कितना शॉर्टेज पड़ा है उसके वजह से कितना एडिशनल कॉस्ट गया दैट इज एनालाइज्ड व्हेन बोथ ऑफ देम आर एनालाइज्ड वी विल चेक आउट किस में कितना ज्यादा कॉस्ट आ रहा है एंड विच एवर इज बेनिफिशियल इज व्हाट वी विल फ्रीज आउट सो दैट इज व्हाट योर JIT का 33rd आई थिंक क्वेश्चन इज ऑलराइट नेक्स्ट इज 34th क्वेश्चन बैकफ्लश के ऊपर है इडियोटिक क्वेश्चन है बैकफ्लश के ऊपर है बट ठीक है वी विल डू इट सो क्या होता है इसमें they have given you कि कब कब माल मटेरियल आ रहा है कितना मटेरियल यूज हो रहा है कितना कन्वर्जन हो रहा है कितना FG है कितना COGS है आई टोल्ड यू बैकफ्लश में बैकफ्लश सो पूरा FG हो जाने के बाद अपन लोग पूरा अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज पास करते हैं तो यहाँ पे ऑल यू हैव टू डू इज जस्ट कीप ऑन ट्रांसफरिंग सबसे पहले मटेरियल आया तो मटेरियल का एंट्री इफ यू सी मटेरियल इन प्रोसेस टू अकाउंट्स पेबल बेसिकली तुम लोगों का जो क्रेडिटर का एंट्री होता है परचेज टू क्रेडिटर देन दैट मटेरियल इज कन्वर्टेड सो कन्वर्जन कॉस्ट देन दैट कन्वर्जन देन फाइनली ये मटेरियल और कन्वर्जन WIP बन गया ट्रांसफर कर दो FG को FG ट्रांसफर कर दो COGS को वही 4 एंट्री इधर मेरा बनता है सो पहले मेरा मटेरियल का एंट्री फिर कन्वर्जन का एंट्री मटेरियल कन्वर्जन दोनों हो गया WIP चल FG को ट्रांसफर कर देते जैसे प्रोसेस में करते हैं एंड फाइनली FG को COGS पे ट्रांसफर कर दिया एंड थिंग्स डन सो दैट इज व्हाट योर बैकफ्लश अकाउंटिंग इज सो बैकफ्लश का उस हिसाब से खाली 4 जर्नल एंट्रीज पास करना है एंड विल बी थ्रू सो दैट इज द प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस ऑफ JIT डन एंड डस्टेड थैंक यू All right, so now we move on to the next chapter, theory of constraints. 5 मार्क का यूजुअली क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 में वो लोग डाल देते हैं theory of constraints. So very important. Theory में मैं समझा चुका what exactly is theory of constraints. There are bottleneck activities. So you can term that as a limiting factor का limiting factor is what theory of constraints is. So एक तो limiting factor बचपन से सीखते आ रहे अपन लोग I think decision making का one of the most important aspect is limiting factor. So limiting factor मतलब क्या होता है there is some constraint, there is some resource which is limited. तो वो constraint के मद्देनजर रखते हुए मुझे पूरा production मेरा plan करना है. I have to focus on that constraint and ensure that how that constraint can be utilized to maximize my resources or for that matter my production which will give me a highest contribution in terms of contribution per limiting factor is what my limiting factor is correct. Now what is theory of constraints? There are more than one limiting factor. So limiting factor में भी और एक limiting factor है. How do you tackle that is what this theory of constraints is now going to tell us. We are going to start with the cult question of PM, Gray PM, question 36, page 1.132, Fee Limited. Very important question, almost covers all the aspects. Quickly we will rush through. Fee Limited, File Limited, whatever. Produces 4 products P, Q, R, S by using 3 different machines X, Y and Z. Each machine capacity is limited to 6,000 hours per month. तो कितना प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं वो लोग? 4 प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं P, Q, R, S. करेक्ट? एंड वो बनाने के लिए वो लोग क्या यूज कर रहे हैं? वो लोग 3 मशीन यूज कर रहे हैं. कौन सा 3 मशीन यूज कर रहे हैं? मशीन X, Y, Z. एंड तीनों का भी टोटल नंबर ऑफ आवर्स अवेलेबल इज 6,000 आवर्स. सो टोटल 6,000 आवर्स. यूजुअली वी जस्ट हैव 1 मशीन. तो वो 1 मशीन का जो नंबर ऑफ आवर्स है दैट बिकम्स अ लिमिटिंग फैक्टर. यहाँ पे 3 मशीन है तो 3 मशीन में से एक लिमिटिंग फैक्टर का लिमिटिंग फैक्टर बन जाएगा. That is what we are going to focus quickly. The details given below are for July 2013. Selling price PQRST दिया है मेरे को, PQRS दिया है, variable cost PQRS दिया है. So I will quickly write down selling price minus variable cost. मेरे को क्या मिल जाएगा? contribution. मेरे को क्या मिल जाएगा? Contribution. So what is the contribution? I'll quickly write down. It is 3000. I'm not wasting my time in writing this and this. 3000 के बाद 5. It is 2400. It is 2400. Then for R it is 6000 minus 4000, which is 2000. And for S it is 1200. Alright, so if you can just see, you can easily calculate 10,000 minus 7,000, 3,000, 8,000 minus 5,600, 6,000 minus 4,000, and 4,000 minus 2,800. Machine hours required per unit. So they've given that for various products, different machine hours are required. So that information is very clearly given. Expected demand is given. So expected demand is 200. So probably that is what I want to produce. But let's see, do I have the total number of hours to do the same? 200 units. 200 units. So total 200 units is the expected demand. Find the bottleneck activity. So now bottleneck activity will be based on the TA ratio, throughput accounting ratio, which we will have to find out in each of the scenarios. So let's see how do we calculate that. Okay, so now let's find out what are the total hours required by the machine. See, I have three machines. I have machine X, I have machine Y, I have machine Z. Correct? Now, total P, Q, R and S. These are the four products which I have to make, and for that I have been stipulated certain X number of hours. So let's see. So now, in order to make P, how many units I will want to make of PC? I will want to ensure that all the demand is met of. So here 200 units is what I will want to make of P. And in order to make 1 unit, what is the time duration that P takes for machine X? It is 20. I'll just write it here. So machine X, Y and Z, what is the total time that they are taking? 20, 20, 20. All three machines take 20 hours to make 1 unit of P. 12, 18, 6. Here 4, 6, 2, and finally 2, 3, 1. 2, 3 and 1. So this is the total time duration that they are taking. So now in order to make P, X will take in all 200 into 20, which is 4,000 hours. Q will take in all 200 into again 20, so 4,000 hours. Q will take 12, my bad. So 200 into 12 will work out to 2,400, my bad. So X, Q. So machine X, Q. So X will take 12 hours. Continuing 200 into 4. And then 200 into 2. Correct? Yeah. 800. And then 200 into 2, which works out to 400. So total hours, what is the total hours that they are going to take? It is 4,000 plus 2,400, 6,400, 6,400 and 1,200 will be 7,600. So total hours required to make all the products P, Q, R, S is 7,600, whereas total hours available is only 6,000. That itself tells me that this is a limiting factor, machine X. Continuing, now there is not only one limiting factor, there may be more than that. That is where we use the concept of theory of constraints to put accounting, correct? Continuing, P, Y, 200. So can I say this will take 4,000 hours? This will take 200 into 18, 3,600, correct? Then 200 into 6, 1,200, 200 into 3, 600. In all, it will take 1,800 plus 3,600 will work out to 5,400 plus 4,000. It is 9,400 hours required. Available is only 6,000. Again, yes. Now for Z, it is 4,000. Again, this is also a limiting factor. 4,000, 200 into 6, 1,200, 200 into 2, 400, 200 into 1, 200. So 1,200 and 400, 1,600 and 200, 1,800. Plus 4,000, that works out to approximately 5,800. Total hours available 6,000. So this is not a limiting factor. This is not a limiting factor. X and Y are limiting factors. Now the question arises, sir, out of X and Y, which one is to be considered on priority? That is where we have the throughput accounting ratio. We have the TA ratio.
whichever has the highest TA ratio will be our bottleneck activity. Whichever has the highest TA ratio. So how do you calculate TA ratio? Well, it is as simple as this. It is total hours required. Refer the theory section for concept explanation. Total hours required divided by total hours available. So what are the total hours required here? 7,600 divided by total hours available, it is 6,000. So what is the TA ratio that you are going to get? It is approximately 127%. Continuing. Total hours required is 9,400 divided by 6,000. What is the total required? It is approximately 157% is the TA ratio, whereas here it is going to be less than 100 because very much evident that the time required is less than the available. So it works out probably to 97%. Now based on this, what is my bottleneck activity? The first part that is required is identify the bottleneck activity. Y is my bottleneck activity, and 157%, the highest TA ratio, is giving me the bottleneck activity. Even if this 157% was not calculated, we know that this 9,400 is a higher number of hours required. So therefore machine Y will be able to produce the least amount of products P, Q, R, S. Then next least X, then Z probably will be able to produce all the units which are there. Continuing quickly. So now we found out the bottleneck activity. First part was that, find out the bottleneck activity. Always the one which has a higher TA ratio. We have to calculate TA ratio based on these limiting factors. Next, allocate the machine hours on the basis of bottleneck. Now what is the bottleneck? Bottleneck is Y. So from now, Y is my limiting factor. Total hours available with Y is how many? 6,000 hours. Let's say. So which one am I going to produce? So now here Y becomes my limiting factor. So this Y will now be utilized to find out the highest limiting factor, and based on that I will give the rankings, correct? So here it is contribution per unit is 3,000 divided by 20. So this will give me contribution per limiting factor. This is limiting factor ka limiting factor. This is also limiting factor, this is also limiting factor, but this becomes a bottleneck limiting factor. 3,000 divided by 20 will be just 150. 2,400 divided by 18. Quickly. Time nahi hai apne paas. Yes, 2,000. Just give me a moment. Contribution per machine hour. 2,000 divided by this is 133.33. Then 2,000 divided by 6 is, need not calculate. 2,000 divided by 6 is 333.33, and 1,200 divided by 3 is 400 per hour per limiting factor. So which is the highest limiting factor that I have? So accordingly I will give you them a ranking. Which is the first rank? 480. Yes. Second rank is this. Third rank is 150, and fourth rank is 133.33. This is how the whole ranking system works. And based on these ranking, I will be able to allocate the number of hours and the product. So first I will produce S. So hours available is 6,000 hours. I am going quick, so I am not focusing more on the presentation aspect. Even that is okay. Do not more focus on your presentation aspect. Focus more on the concepts and the answers. What is the hours available? 6,000 hours. सबसे पहले मैं किसको use करूँगा? S. S कितना hours मेरा use कर लेगा total? It will totally use 200. I've already made that. So 200 into 3, which is 1,200 hours is what it will use. Then I am left with 4,800 hours. Then R will also use, I think, 200 into 6. My bad, this is 600. So 6,000 minus 600 will become 5,400. So 5,400 left for R. R will want 200 into 6, 1,200 hours. So which will work out to 4,200. Then rank 3 is P, which will want 4,000 hours. So P will want 4,000 hours, and finally left with Q. Q wants 18 hours per unit, so which will work out to around 11.1111. So we will freeze this to 11 units. Are we clear? So S will be able to complete all 200 units. R will be able to complete all 200 units. P will be able to complete all 200 units, but Q will be able to complete only 11 units. So that is what the question was. Question was, allocate the machine hours on the basis of the bottleneck. This is how it works. Alright, so now using machine X and machine Z, also we will be able to produce only this much units. See, what is going to happen is, say for example Q, I will be able to produce only 11 units using machine Y, but that, see, product Q has to pass through all the three machines in order to be completed. It has to pass through machine X, it has to pass through machine Y, it has to pass through machine Z. Machine Z probably will be able to complete all the production 200 units which are required. Even machine X to a certain larger extent will be able to produce that. But what about machine Y? That product Q will not be complete till the time my machine Y also runs it. That is where bottleneck comes into picture. So now every machine will be used and they will be used to produce only this many units. Part 3. Ascertain the profit expected in the month if the monthly fixed cost amount to rupees 9,50,000. So we will quickly say that for T, it is again no format, quickly. 200 into contribution per unit is, sorry, for S, we are starting with S. So S, 200 into contribution per unit of S is 1,200, works out to 24, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have R, again R 200 units will be able to make into 2000 is the contribution that I am going to make. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then we are going to make P. P also we are able to make 200 units. Per unit I am making 3000 contribution. So that works out to 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And finally able to make Q. I will be able to make 11 units of Q and per unit it is 2400. So here 2400 into 10, 24,000 plus 2,400. I think it works out to 26,400. If somebody can quickly total it for me. So 6 and 6, 12 lakh 66,400 less 9,60,000 fixed cost is what they have said, giving me a total net profit. 12,66,400 minus 9,60,000 is what I have got, giving me a total net profit of 3,16,664. 3,16,000, I think, 400. No. 6,400. Alright? 9,50,000 is the fixed cost. Then this works out to 3,16,400. They have 3,16,664. Chuttama done. So this is the next part. Net profit that I am getting is 3,16,400 total net profit. So ascertain the profit expected in the month if monthly fixed cost amounts to 9,50,000. And lastly, calculate the unused spare hours of each machine. So now the unused spare hours is what is required of each machine. So now, sorry, just excuse. Obviously, Y will not have any unused hours. X will have. So X we will say that will take. So we'll just write it down. P, Q, R, S. X takes how much hours? Z takes how much hours? X will take, in order to make P, it will take 4,000 hours. It is only going to make 11 units. So 11 into 12 is 132. Then 200 into 4 is 800. And 200 into 2 is 400. So in all it is taking 5,332 hours. Total hours available are 6,000. So what is the spare hours available? It is 668. For Z it is P. I will take around 4,000 hours. Q, 11 into 6, it is only 66. R is 200 into 2, 400 and 200 into 1, 200. In all 4,666, 4,666, 6,000 hours is what I have. 1,334 hours is what in all I have with me as spare hours. With this we complete the sum. If spare hours utilization in terms of rupees is also given, we can just multiply it with that and things will be done in dusted. So focus theory of constraints is TA ratio. Higher the TA ratio, it is a bottleneck activity because it is utilizing the maximum number of hours in order to complete the products, and because of that it becomes a constraint. Thank you. Alright, so next question in line, the previous question, question 35, BTS Limited, page 1.131, Gray PM. BTS Limited produces three products ABC, contribution is already given here. So see here, sales minus direct material contribution per unit is 30, 25, 15 is already given. Machines are given, machine 1, machine 2, machine 3. Throughput accounting ratio is given also in this question. So 3 machines based on the total number of hours. Now TA ratio is given, which in the last sum we took such huge amount of time to calculate. The TA ratio is already given. If you all recollect, higher the TA ratio, higher the chances that it will be a bottleneck activity. Machine 1 has a TA ratio of 133%. So machine 1, what is the TA ratio? Approximately 133%. What is the TA ratio for machine 2? It is 200%. And what is the TA ratio for machine 3? It is approximately 67%. So yes, 200% highest, this machine 2 becomes your bottleneck activities. Yes, this bottleneck activity is the basis. So limiting factor, ka limiting factor is machine 2. And on the basis of this machine 2, we will calculate what number of units we are going to produce for A, what number of units we are going to produce for B and for C. So here in all again, I think it is given, if you read clearly, that there are 6,000 machine hours which are already given. So 6,000 hours are there. We will find out A, B, C. We will find out the contribution per limiting factor based on machine 2. Calculate the highest ranking based on that. Based on the ranking, we will allocate whichever is left will be left, and then accordingly machine 1 and machine 3 will also produce according to machine 2, and we will be able to calculate the profitability. I hope it's quite a straightforward question which is there. Okay, next question, last question of your PM for throughput. We are solving all three. Question 37, H Limited, page 1.135, Gray PM. H Limited manufactures three products. Material cost, selling price and bottleneck resource details per unit are as follows. The product X, Y and Z is there. So there is a product X, there is a product Y and there is a product Z. Alright, so for that we have the selling price, we have the material and other variable costs. So 66.24, here it is 75.30, Z 90.40. Now bottleneck resource time is available in minutes. Now this specific question again asked by a student, that sir ye wala sum samajhta nahi hai. Now whenever bottleneck resource is given in terms of minutes, always use this formula which I have given here. Alright, so whenever bottleneck resource is given in terms of minutes, the TA ratio, the throughput accounting ratio will be calculated for bottleneck minutes like this. Throughput per bottleneck minute. How is that calculated? It is nothing but contribution per minute. We do, right? Contribution per limiting factor. So contribution per unit, contribution per hour, per labor hour, per machine hour. In the same way, contribution per minute. So total the contribution that I am getting for a product and the time taken in minutes by that product will give me contribution per minute. So that is what I will find out first. Then factory cost per bottleneck minute. How do you calculate that? It is budgeted factory cost divided by total bottleneck time. That will give you factory cost per bottleneck minute. This will probably give you your TA ratio. Whichever has the highest TA ratio will be again given the highest ranking. So that's how this whole thing will work when bottleneck is given in terms of minutes. Alright, so bottleneck resource time is given 15, 15 and 20. So here can I say this is my contribution per unit, which is 66 minus 24, which is nothing but I think 42. Then this is 45 and then this is 50. Divide by time taken in minutes. So this is my limiting factor. So time taken, we are used to hours. This is in minutes. So divide by 15, divide by 15 and divide by 20. So 42 divided by 15 will give me, I'll just quickly refer. So this will give me 2.8. Then 45 divided by 15 will give me 3. And then this will give me 2.5. So as per that, now ranking, which is giving me the highest contribution per limiting factor. So this is contribution per minute, which is my first part in this formula. Which is throughput per bottleneck minute, contribution per minute. So first rank will be given here, second rank will be given here, and third rank will be given here. Now I have to calculate what? TA ratio. How do you calculate that? So TA ratio is throughput per bottleneck minute, which is contribution per minute, done and dusted. Factory cost per bottleneck minute, which is what? Factory cost per bottleneck minute is nothing but budgeted factory cost divided by total bottleneck time. So what is the budgeted factory cost which is there? It is 2,21,600. So 2,21,600 divided by what is the total bottleneck resource time available? It is 75,120 minutes, which is there. So in all, that is going to give you 2.95. So 2.95. Now all I have to do is, for X, Y and Z, I have to calculate the TA ratio. How do you do that? So for X, it is going to be 2.8 divided by 2.95. For Y, it is going to be 3 divided by 2.95. And for Z, it is going to be 2.5 divided by 2.95. Based on this, we will get the TA ratio. So 2.8 divided by 2.95 will give me 0.95. For Y, it will be 3 divided by 2.95. And lastly, it is going to be 0.85. Ranking here will be first, second, third, and that is what the question has asked. You know, even before reading the question, we are almost through. So budgeted factory cost done. Required throughput accounting products rank done. Select the highest ranked product done. Calculate the throughput accounting ratio and comment on it. So this is how the whole system works. Right. So just focus whenever there are minutes. Focus on this. The TA ratio for bottleneck minutes will be throughput per bottleneck minute divided by the factory cost per bottleneck minute. This will be given almost. This is what your contribution per limiting factor is, and that gives you the final answer. Alright, so now some practical aspects of activity based costing. I am just taking 2-3 questions. I'll just give you an explanation. पूरा solving नहीं करूँगा मैं. Neither you have time nor अभी मेरे पास उतना time है. तुम लोगों को पूरा उतना solve करके बताओ. It will take an around 35-40 minutes to solve one sum. इतने सारे sums है. तो कोई मतलब नहीं है उसके ऊपर मैं time waste करूँ. हाँ, एक kick start दे देता हूँ मैं तुम लोगों को idea दे देता हूँ कैसे sum को solve करना है. 2-3 typical sums उठा लेते हैं. Then you can manage it. In case नहीं समझा, in case कोई doubts है, 1, 2, 3, just give me a call. और टिक 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 WhatsApp है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, I'll be there. ठीक है. So here we are picking question number 10, page 1.68 of your Grey PM. CMC is what we are starting with. उसके पहले activity based costing again started by Kaplan. So here what activity based costing says is that it is not typical like your overheads. Overheads का अपना absorption अपन लोग ने IPCC में देखा था that you know एक labor hour basis ले लिया, machine hour basis ले लिया, and एक वो fundamental बस वही basis लेके तुमने पूरा overheads absorb कर दिया और products को charge कर दिया without realizing कि वो product उस चीज के लिए कितना liable है. So that kind of is an incorrect method, and at times the answer that you are going to get through that may be very skewed up, which obviously you don't want. So that is where activity based costing was introduced, and that activity based costing, what it does is it will charge the product its cost only if that product is responsible. So the activity will be traced to the product. So उसे कोई overheads होने वाला है, वो overheads को मैं trace करेगा, activity में उसको bifurcate करेगा, and then that activity will be traced in turn to the product based on a appropriate basis, which is called as a cost driver, as you may know. So वो cost driver क्या एक basis है portion का, जैसे अपना PPI में कैसे एक basis होता है तुम लोग का, वैसे ही यहाँ पे भी एक basis लिया है, basis को rationalize करके you are going to charge it to the product so that unnecessarily things are not charged, and that's how it works. See, predominantly overheads चलता था, क्यों? क्योंकि overheads इतना हुआ ही नहीं करता था, पहले बहुत कम था, but now the overheads have taken over your direct material, direct labor. So overheads इतना बड़ा है और उसका अगर apportioning या allocation बराबर नहीं हुआ ना, then your product costing is incorrect, which should not happen here as such. So are you understanding? So that is the reason activity based costing was introduced. Now on that note, question 10 is what I am reading. CMC manufactures several products. It uses a single overhead recovery rate based on direct labor hours. यही अपने को नहीं चाहिए. Single recovery rate. अरे the overheads incurred by the CMC in the half of the year are as under. So ये overhead का cost दिया है. During this period, CMC introduced activity based costing. Welcome move. And following significant activities were identified. So receiving materials and components, setup of machines for production runs, quality inspection. So ये मेरा तीन activity identify किया है. तो क्या क्या overheads को sort out किया उसमें फिर बाद में बाइफरकेट किया उसको 3 चीज में, किसमें, 3 एक्टिविटीज में। अब ये एक्टिविटी क्या होगा अभी देखो, ओवरहेड्स को एक्टिविटी में डालने के लिए कुछ बेसिस मिलेगा, तो उससे एक्टिविटी भर जाएगा, फिर वो एक्टिविटी को अपने को चार्ज करने का प्रोडक्ट पे, वो कैसे करेंगे, अगेन उसके लिए भी वो लोग कुछ बेसिस देंगे। समझे? I'll just read the question, साथ साथ में करते जाएंगे। It is determined that machine operation, machine maintenance expenses should be apportioned between stores and production activity in 20:80। देखो मशीन ऑपरेशन का दे दिया है, मशीन मेंटेनेंस का दे दिया है, वैसे भी सैलरीज ऑफ टेक्निकल स्टाफ, वेजेस एंड सैलरीज ऑफ स्टोर स्टाफ का भी दे देंगे वो लोग। सो ये मेरा चले गया स्टोर्स में, प्रोडक्शन एक्टिविटी में, तो मतलब वो स्टोर्स हो गया रिसीविंग मटेरियल्स एंड कंपोनेंट्स, स्टोर्स में ही वो रिसीव होता है। दूसरा चले गया मेरा प्रोडक्शन रन में, सेटअप में। फिर टेक्निकल स्टाफ सैलरी शुड बी अपोर्शन बिटवीन मशीन मेंटेनेंस, सेटअप एंड क्वालिटी इंस्पेक्शन। देखो सेटअप में चले गया थोड़ा, थोड़ा क्वालिटी इंस्पेक्शन में, थोड़ा मशीन मेंटेनेंस में गया, फिर मशीन मेंटेनेंस वापस से ऊपर उसका जो दिया है बाइफरकेशन उस हिसाब से चले जाएगा। थिंग्स आर प्रीटी सिंपल। Consumption of activities during the period under review are as under: direct labor hours worked 4000, total direct labor hours worked are 4000। तो अब उसमें से अपना प्रोडक्ट के लिए कितना है वो नीचे वो लोग देंगे। डायरेक्ट वेज रेट 6 पर आवर, प्रोडक्शन सेटअप्स, तो टोटल प्रोडक्शन सेटअप्स 2040 है, तो वो टोटल प्रोडक्शन सेटअप्स का कितना कॉस्ट हुआ है वो भी अपने को पता चल जाएगा। उसके बेस पे एक बार प्रोडक्शन सेटअप करने का कितना कॉस्ट हुआ वो पता चल जाएगा। उसमें फिर अपने प्रोडक्ट ने कितना सेटअप लिया, अपने दूसरे प्रोडक्ट ने कितना सेटअप लिया, उसके से कितना सेटअप हुआ, उसको उतना चार्ज कर दो। समझ रहे हो? तो एक रैशनल बेसिस मिल गया यार सच। मटेरियल एंड कंपोनेंट कंसाइनमेंट्स फ्रॉम received from suppliers 1960, number of quality inspections carried out 1280, ये सबके बेसिस पे मेरे को इंडिविजुअल मिल जाएगा भाई। टोटल नंबर ऑफ क्वालिटी इंस्पेक्शंस 1280 एंड उसके ऊपर टोटल खर्चा हुआ है 12,80,000। मतलब कहना है इसे एक क्वालिटी इंस्पेक्शन के ऊपर कितना खर्चा हुआ। फिर अपन देखते हैं भाई टी तूने कितना क्वालिटी इंस्पेक्शन लिया है 30, एक का 1280 हो रहा है, जस्ट फॉर एन एग्जांपल। Are you understanding? That is how you have to solve a sum on activity based costing. Fairly simple. अब वो लोग ने ये sum में आगे और एक दिया है कि calculate the same thing for a new product K. सेम अपने को तो कॉस्ट ड्राइवर्स मिल चुका है, एक प्रोडक्शन रन का कितना खर्चा, एक सेटअप का कितना खर्चा, एक सैलरी स्टाफ का कितना खर्चा, उसको सेम चीज मल्टीप्लाई करने का है जो के का वो लोग ने इंफॉर्मेशन दिया है, एंड यू गेट द आंसर। दैट्स इट, एज सिंपल एज दैट। So I hope you are clear with that. So that's how this sum will be done. Next question 12, page 1.76, Superford Limited. Again I am telling you, खाली तुम लोग को एक किक स्टार्ट देने के लिए है, सम को मेथोडिकली सॉल्व नहीं कर रहा हूं, उसके लिए यू कैन रिफर सीए क्लब इंडिया, उधर सब मिल जाएगा मेरा। Superfood Limited manufactures 3 types of biscuit ABC in a fully mechanized factory. Company has been following conventional method of costing and wishes to use activity based costing. Welcome. And therefore wishes to have the following data presented under both the systems for the month. See, कभी भी है ना costing का sum solve करते हो ना, students always have this problem, सर क्लिक नहीं होता है, एक ही उसका solution है, summary बनाओ question का। ये मैं मेरे lectures में कम से कम अगर तुम मेरा 10 लेक्चर सुनोगे ना तो ये चीज को 100 बार सुनोगे। समरी बनाओ, जब तक तुम लोग सम का समरी नहीं बनाओगे तब तक सम सॉल्व नहीं हो पाएगा। You have to make a summary for the sum, even though you know the sum properly. Okay, and therefore wishes to have the following data presented. Inspection cost दिया है, machine repairs दिया है, die cost दिया है, selling overheads दिया है, तो total वो दिया है अपने को फिर आपने देखो प्रोडक्ट ए बी सी का दिया है। प्राइम कॉस्ट तो जो है वही रहेगा। सी डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट तो डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट है, तो उसमें कोई नया सिस्टम नहीं चाहिए, तो डायरेक्टली एट्रीब्यूटेबल है। जो ओवरहेड है, जो इनडायरेक्ट है, उससे अपने को पंगा है, एंड दैट फॉर दैट वी आर यूजिंग एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग। फिर प्राइस दिया है, ठीक है, ग्रॉस प्रोडक्शन, यूनिट्स पर प्रोडक्शन, नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्टिव्स, इंस्पेक्शन, डाई कॉस्ट, नंबर ऑफ मशीन आवर्स, ऑल ऑफ दैट इज गिवन। सो नाउ व्हाट वी विल डू इज वी विल यूज अगेन ऑल ऑफ दीज डेटा इन ऑर्डर टू कैलकुलेट द प्रोडक्ट वाइज कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट ए बी सी। तो उसमें जो प्राइम कॉस्ट है वो जो डायरेक्टली एट्रीब्यूटेबल है उसका पंगा नहीं है। जो इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट है जैसे इंस्पेक्शन कॉस्ट, मशीन, डाई कॉस्ट, सेलिंग ओवरहेड्स, उसके लिए वो लोग ने कुछ बेसिस दिया है क्वेश्चन में ही। तो इंस्पेक्शन कॉस्ट टोटल कितनी बार इंस्पेक्शन हुआ, जितनी बार प्रोडक्शन रन होता है, उस बेसिस पे तुम लोग को उसको अपोर्शन करना पड़ेगा इंडिविजुअल प्रोडक्ट्स के बेसिस पे। तो प्रोडक्ट्स को भी लगेगा कि हाँ यार मेरी वजह से इतना प्रोडक्शन रन हुआ, उसकी वजह से इतनी बार इंस्पेक्शन करना पड़ा, तो मैं इतना रिस्पॉन्सिबल हूँ इंस्पेक्शन कॉस्ट के लिए। दैट इज व्हाट एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग इज, एंड दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू डू विद दिस सम, और फॉर दैट मैटर every sum that you are going to solve for activity based costing. Thank you. Okay, next in line question 22 है, page 1.103. This is a small question on target cost. तो target cost कैसे compute करने का? आइसक्रीम लिमिटेड is engaged. So target cost याद है, target selling price less मेरा जो profit margin है वो will give me target cost. बराबर है? So let's see how does this work here. Company presently sells 50,000 units of cocoa at 25. तो current selling price मेरा 25 है. 20,000 at 20, vanilla 60,000 at 15. Demand is sensitive to selling price, elastic, and it has been observed that every reduction of 1 rupee per unit selling price will increase the demand for each product by 10%. The company has the production capacity of 60,500. तो एक का मैं solve करता हूँ कोको का. So कोको का what they have given is 50,000 फिलहाल है, बराबर है, and उसका प्राइस कितना है कोको का? It is 25. 1 रुपया कम करोगे तुम लोग तो 5,000 से 10% से बढ़ जाएगा ना, 10% बढ़ जाएगा तो ये 55,000 हो जाएगा। 1 रुपया से और कम करो तो ये 60,500, 55,000 प्लस 10% अगर करोगे तो, यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सो 60,500 उसका मैक्सिमम वैसे भी कैपेसिटी है, एंड मेरा ये कितना हो गया? सेलिंग प्राइस 23। तो अभी फिलहाल 25 पे 50,000 है, सेलिंग प्राइस को 23 किया तो 60,500 मेरा सेल्स हो जाएगा, इलास्टिक डिमांड। अब द कंपनी मार्क्स अप 25% ऑन कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट। सो 23 का फिलहाल मेरा सेलिंग प्राइस है, वो लोग बोलते हैं भाई प्रॉफिट मार्जिन कुछ है, और इसके ऊपर जो मेरे को लगने वाला है जो मिल रहा है वो कॉस्ट। अब यहाँ पे जो दिया है उस हिसाब से चलने का। वो लोग ने बोला है 25% ऑन कॉस्ट, तो जिसके ऊपर भी ऑन बोला है उसको 100 लेने का। 25% ऑन कॉस्ट, तो ये कितना हो गया? 125. All you have to do is just cross multiply. You will get the cost which is called as your target cost. कि भाई देखो मेरे को फिक्सेड है कि सेलिंग प्राइस तो इतना ही रखने का है, मार्जिन भी मुझे 25% चाहिए, तो ठीक है भाई कॉस्ट अपन लोग अपने हिसाब से अपन लोग अपना कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। तो मैं देखेगा मेरा टारगेट कॉस्ट कितना हो गया है, तो वो टारगेट कॉस्ट को मैं कंपेयर करूंगा मेरा एक्चुअली जो कॉस्ट आ रहा है उसके साथ। इफ इट कम्स टू दैट अमाउंट गुड, उससे कम है गुड, उससे ज्यादा है आई विल नॉट गो एट, बिकॉज देन आई एम कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग ऑन द profit margin which I will then decide with the management. So that is what the question is. अभी नीचे वो लोग ने सब एक्टिविटीज दिया है, तीनों प्रोडक्ट का इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया है, कोको स्ट्रॉबेरी वनीला का कॉस्ट का इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया है। यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट द कॉस्ट यूजिंग एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग एंड यू विल बी डन एंड डस्टेड एज फार एज दैट टारगेट कॉस्ट इज कंसर्न।